Hi everybody, I'm Julie O'Clair. You're watching Parents TV and we have got some great tips for you today on reading with your preschooler or kindergartner. And we're joined by Francie Alexander from Scholastic, who brought these great books for children in this age group, and it's so great to have you back, Francie.
I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you. Now let's start with preschoolers. Around age 3, kids become very curious and they can start answering questions about objects and events. What books do you recommend for that age group?
Well, that age likes to touch and to talk
yes,
about
they
it.
Do.
So they're still into board books and books where things move, where things happen. So things like this farm animals book or the one about the Tonka trucks are things they can find out about their world, but they can also touch, feel, and again, they like to talk about it.
It's great when they can actually get involved. Okay, so moving through preschool to 4-year-olds, you say board books, as you mentioned, are a good option, but also introducing picture books. Tell us about some of those.
Well, kids start to really think about things like being a friend. They look for role models, and books have some of the best role models they can get. We have Clifford and Corduroy and Curious George with us right now, and they have experiences that kids are just starting to have on solving problems, on sharing. Teachers are telling them share, 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 on caring for one another. And again, these characters have been around for decades, and they're really good examples for kids who are 4.
In fact, Clifford celebrated his 40th anniversary, right?
Yes.
And Corduroy also celebrating a 40th this year.
Right, so we may have grown up with them, and the kinds of things that they teach kids about, they share with kids, are those are things that are tried and true.
Okay, now let's talk about reading to your children and what tips you have. You have great books to work with. How do you read to them?
Involve them. And, maybe at the very beginning, show them the cover and say, what do you think this is going to be about? Or if they've read the book before and it's an old favorite, maybe you want to read it in a new way. Mm-hmm. Or find a part for your child to say, when we get to the page where there's the cow, you make the cow sound.
Right. And I have a 3-year-old and he finishes the sentence. He knows the book so well, like Clifford, that he can actually finish it for me, which is a lot of fun.
That's called chime-in reading, and chiming in is an important first reading skill.
He chimes in all the time. Okay, starting around 5, kids are reading on their own, which is absolutely fantastic. Tell us about shared reading and how parents can actually get involved.
Right, it's really important that it be interactive, that both you and your child have sort of a role. And of course, Dr. Seuss is the master of sort of a first reader. So if you're reading One Fish, Two Fish, or Hop on Pop, you can each, we call it echo reading. You can read a line, and then your child can read a line. And that's a nice way to share the whole experience. Another thing in terms of sharing is, again, looking at the cover and predicting. What do you think this book is going to be about? Mm-hmm. And then when you get through the book, ask your child to tell you, was it about what we thought? Can you tell me the story yourself in your own words? Or maybe together make up a new ending for it. So you're really deeply involved.
Okay, now 6-year-olds. My daughter just turned 6 a couple of weeks ago, and she's reading books on her own, which is so amazing. She's not a baby anymore, but it's great. And you have a group of books called First Readers. How does that work with the 6-year-olds?
Well, once your child is in school and reading on their own, they might be reading at all different levels. Mm-hmm. So, and you'll find these in all the bookstores, books that have levels and give you a clue on what your child really needs.
And they're right on the back here.
Yes, it tells like if they're level 1 and how many words are in the book, what are the major skills that your child will be learning, and how you can help. So you can find the just right book, the perfect match, so your child gets really good practice.
Okay, and so this is actually sort of an I Spy.
That's right. This is a fun book just in and of itself, because they get to look for things, they get to name objects, they can read it on their own, but it's really a good practice book too.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about once your child is reading on their own, how do you sort of stay involved? You want them to be independent, but you want to know how they're progressing too.
That's right. You want to do both. You want to set a time, a few minutes a day, where it's just their own reading time. And you can parallel read and sit next to them and read your own book, because then you're going to be a reading role model. You're going to be saying reading is important, but then you're still going to want to share some of the same books. You're going to want to read to your child or read with your child. And so when you're reading to your child, you're going to pick books that are above their level, that you're going to introduce to them so that when they can read even at a higher level, they'll be able to read it on their own. Or you're going to read books that are on their level, so again, they can chime in, they can echo read, they can be part of it. And these books right here, like the Wheels on the Race Car, or
Which is the Wheels on the Bus.
That's right, in a more grown-up way, with a different vocabulary. So your child starts to see, oh, like it'll say the Wheels on the Race Car, that's different from the song I used to sing. And there's lots of new verbs, like the driver steers, steers, steers. Great new vocabulary for going into other books. And this book, My Big Pink Everything, this is one that now that they can read on their own, there's an alphabet. They can sort things. They can learn concepts. They can talk about color. They can talk about organization.
And hey, it's pink.
It's
perfect
pink.
For girls,
How
right?
does that work,
Boys
right?
too. You know?
I know. Pink's a great color for everybody.
Let's talk about some of the other books you have here for 5- and 6-year-olds.
Sure. A big accomplishment of this age is kids start to read to learn things and to get their questions answered. And like the book about frogs, and they start to figure out, oh, I've seen frogs on TV. That was a make-believe frog, though. Maybe I was watching Sesame Street and I saw Kermit. But what are real frogs like? And now this book gives you that helps you understand what's the difference between fake and what's real. And these are real frogs. They're interesting and gorgeous and fun, and the kids can learn a lot about them.
Fantastic. Francie Alexander, it's so great to have you. What a great assortment of books you brought in. We have to have you back soon.
My pleasure.
Okay,
Good
thanks so much.
to you.
And for more tips about reading to your little one, you can go to scholastic.com/parents. And we'd like to hear your thoughts and questions. You can reach us by email at ideas@parents.tv. Thanks for watching Parents TV, your source for the best information for your growing family.
Thank you for watching Parents TV, our families, our lives.